Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Neptune Sextile or Trine one's natal midheaven. Now, this transit may manifest in dreams, inspiration, idealism, sacrificing, and fantasizing. Being in harmony with one's career and responsibilities. Now, I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. It's not about where you're just fantasizing about responsibilities, but what it could be is you could be more idealistic in them and look at the good, aspect or element of taking responsibility and how it makes you feel about yourself, as opposed to perceiving it as just like an arduous grind. It can be a time as well where you may be more inspired to do things that are career related. If you have your midheaven Pisces, it could be something career can be connected to metaphysical, which includes astrology or poetry, dancing, photography, chemistry, as some examples. And it might be a time as well where it may be more positive and auspicious to sacrifice in career-related matters, and also for people that are older than you, authority figures, the dominant parent, which is often the father. This is the time where you could do those things. It's about being more gracious in doing so. I mean, you're talking about a positive aspect, relationship being formed from the transit of Neptune to the natal midheaven. So it can be a very positive, period for being more inspired, intent, and in midheaven matters in general. And the thing is, you could also have more, have more inspiration, for laborious work, for others as well, whether it's career related or has nothing to do with the career. It could just be, work that you're doing for others that you just decided to do because you want to help them out. It could be, chores around the home that you may be, that you may have to do, which is pretty much, mandatory. Um, it can be a time as well when this transit does take place. It's really very harmonious, again, with matters, with the career. It's being able to envision, if you're not, currently happy, at your current, career, and it's a time where you might be more inspired to do something or pursue something different to attain, those dreams, what you want as far as your career goes at this time. If you're at a job where you feel is dead end, or it's overly monotonous, or it's something where you feel like you're not making any headway, where your social status is impeded and it's not making any progress, this could be an opportune time for you to make, those dreams manifest into reality in order to improve, your stature in life, your social status at this point in time. And it's really about this transit can also be expressed in, being more idealistic regarding the dominant parent, which is often the father. It doesn't mean that you're going to, completely, ignore, bad, aspects of this person, or completely overlook transgressions by the dominant parent, but it's more of a time when you're willing to accentuate and emphasize the more positive traits of, the person. If the natal midheaven, is in Leo, it could be, might actually be Leo sun, moon, or ascendant person, or embody those characteristics. The dominant parent could be somebody that you're seeing those positive Leo type traits in, like such as, being very self-confident and charismatic, magnanimous, generous, someone that has a lot of courage and fortitude. As some examples, very gregarious and extroverted and outgoing. These are the qualities that you're more likely to see, at this time in that example, because again, you're more likely than not to emphasize and accentuate the positive traits and qualities in that person as opposed to the negative. And that would still apply, to older people as well. And you're willing to, sacrifice more, for older people as well at this time, where you'd be able to do so more graciously if you're dealing with, say somebody that's, it's an older debilitated person and they're having trouble getting around. This could be that you could be like more in that mode, to be able to, to open a car door for them, or being able to, open a door to a business for them, as some examples, to help them out with groceries. These are, just examples I'm throwing out, and this is also a time as well where you're willing to, if you're in a, position, you're in a subordinate or subservient position at your place of business, where you're willing to sacrifice more wholeheartedly for authority figures. Again, doing so graciously, not with, an attitude, or, you're doing it in a way where you really, you're more inspired to do that at those to do that at this time, more so than usual, to sacrifice more, to give more of your time for these people. And it might be a time too where you might simply be more inspired to attain a position of authority. If you've been in a position at your job where it's basically where you've been somewhat stagnant, you've been in a subordinate or subservient role for a prolonged or protracted time period, this could be more of that time, a good opportunity to pursue, a position of authority, doing so through being realistic, not being unrealistic. It could be, if you're in a subordinate role and you have a chance to be, like, say, like it's a department head, over a certain, section of the store, as opposed to, saying, okay, I'm going to be the store, I'm going to go right from this, subordinate position and be the store manager. That would be an unrealistic example, but it could be a time where you could be like, okay, well, maybe I can be, strive to do something where I'm in a little higher position than I'm currently at, as opposed to just being a general worker, going to a position where you're actually, maybe somewhere in a certain department of store where you could be that supervisor, or, that manager, or what have you. This is more about, realism, of being idealistic, but being, being realistic in the process, and as far as what you could attain, and career-wise. And it's also a time, Midheaven is connected with our success. So, the dreams, that you have of being successful at a certain position, it's a time where you may be striving more to make that manifest into some kind of reality. And it's a time when you're talking about sextiles and trines in astrology, it's less likely to have diversions or distractions in trying to do certain things. If you're trying to gain some kind of notoriety and recognition, this could be that opportunity to be able to do so, where you have the inspiration and hope of doing this. And it's really also a time, could be more positive for forgiveness in matters with older people, with the dominant parent, which is often the father. It's a flowing aspect. It's a time where, this could be a very positive time for this. If you've been at odds, with an authority figure or the dominant parent, again, often the father, this is the time where it could be easier for you to mend fences, or at least forgive the person for his or her transgressions. Now, the midheaven is also connected with the public image and reputation. So this could be the time where, you're working, very inspired, with a lot of inspiration, to maintain that good, public image and reputation at this point in time, more so than, you ordinarily would, I would say. And it's really another way this transit could manifest. It could be about having, again, that inspiration, which is Neptune, for career related, which is midheaven matters. Let's say, for example, if the natal midheaven is in Aquarius, those career related matters can be connected with computers, astronomy, astrology, innovation, aviation, meteorology, as some examples. Could also be a time where you're talking about dreams, which is the Neptune, to attain a success and have more of an opportunity to do so. And success is the midheaven. Now, if the natal midheaven is in Capricorn, as an example, it could be attaining that success in accounting or dentistry, information technology, government or political work, as some examples. And also, too, it can be a time where Neptune related people can be more in harmony and agreement with that side that you can't suppress or have difficulty suppressing, which is the midheaven. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, if the natal midheaven is in the zodiac sign Cancer, those qualities can be very nurturing, sympathetic, and tenacious. And being very nurturing, sympathetic, and tenacious, those are the qualities that you may have trouble suppressing, but it's still good qualities. And could also be very auspicious to escape, which is Neptune, to take care of responsibilities, which is the midheaven. If the midheaven is in Libra, as an example, it could be doing something, legal matters or responsibilities maybe connected with art or maybe interior decoration as some examples. And it's more of a time where you could be idealistic, which is Neptune, about what you can accomplish, which is the midheaven. If the natal midheaven is in Leo, those things you're trying to accomplish may be connected with creativity. It could be work with children, entertainment, party events, planning, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.